Welcome everyone to the Encompass e-discovery overview for firm attorneys. I'm not sure who's going to kick us off from our group of panelists. Mal, okay.
Hey, this is Lucy Cohen. I'll go ahead and get us started in our practice. Group leader John Martin will chime in just a minute, but I am a partner in the Columbia office. Several of our colleagues are based in this office. Hayward Bunyata, Julie Fleming, and John Martin and I are partners on the Encompass team and practice together. And then we also have with us Mallory Atchison, who heads up our practice innovation, our analytics, and is of counsel with us. Richie Barber, who leads our business management and security group, and then Michael Pratt, who heads up our litigation technology team. And I will hand it over to John if he is available to talk a little bit about our practice group. Sounds like we may be having some audio technical difficulties. So I'll go ahead and proceed a little bit further and tell a little bit about our group. So our Encompass discovery practice really covers three different aspects related to discovery. We have technology services that we provide. We also provide managed review services when that's necessary. And then we also provide counseling and advocacy as well. So just starting sort of at the early stages of e-discovery and the EDRM cycle, when you're at the stage that you're collecting data, identifying data, we have teams that do that, and we're all coordinated together to help make sure that we can actually collect the data and then identify the right data to pull in that's relevant to the case. We have our technology teams that handle data processing, data management. We also have teams that are specialized in data migrations and have done large data migrations from different review platforms. We also have a analytics team that has certifications in a number of different analytics technologies that we work with our lawyers and our clients to basically make sure that we're leveraging the right analytics tools for the case to try to reduce the amount of data that we're pulling in to either review or other types of analysis. We have a technology team that handles our productions, and then we also have our attorney team that does everything from helping with information governance issues on the early side of sort of the e-discovery information governance life cycle, all the way through to helping negotiate scope of discovery, search terms, if analytics tools, TAR will be used, what types of tools will be used, what's appropriate for the case, helping make sure that we are meeting deadlines, managing that discovery. And then all the way through to after production, if there are challenges related to privilege or other types of things, our teams can help work through those meet and confers, handle any motions that may come up, and handle other types of discovery disputes. So at a very high level, that encompasses our practice group. And at this point, we're going to dive in a little bit deeper at starting with the technology tools that we use in our technology teams. And with that, I will hand it off to the head of our litigation technology team, Michael Pratt.
Thanks, Lucy, and greetings, everyone. Encompass has a dedicated team of professionals that oversee and manage collections, data migrations, and data processing. On the collections front, we offer remote and on-site collection services, leverage leading industry tools and professionals that are experienced and certified in utilizing them effectively. This team is able to quickly and efficiently collect and triage devices and run simultaneous collections that often result in cost savings to our clients, as well as minimizing disruptions to the client's work schedules. We have a secure storage facility for evidence items that can be used for both short and long-term preservation, and built out processes and procedures for tracking and processing collections as well. This team has numerous industry certifications and has proven skilled and trustworthy enough that our enterprise clients even give them access and credentials to their internal file shares and data repositories. With regard to migrations, we've certainly been busy lately and may have even worked with a number of folks on this call already, especially from the Bowman and Brook and Tucker Ellis and Kelly Dry side. Data migrations, especially as they relate to Relativity and other e-discovery platforms, can really run the gamut of complexity, and sometimes the appropriate path hinges simply on versioning matches between our instance of the platform and who we're receiving it from. They often require a lot of background workflows related to data inventory, validation, QC, deduplication, and eventually making sure that that migration source is clear for decommissioning, whether we're the source or whether it's coming from another firm or vendor. To that effect, we have tried and true protocols established and know what details we need to focus on to ensure that our migration will go as smoothly as possible, as well as taking the time to sort through other migration details that make the data in our instance as familiar as possible to the previous instance you've been used to. And finally, we also have a dedicated processing team that works closely with our attorneys and project support teams. They're well equipped, flexible, and adaptable, and also highly experienced in our main process with our main processing engines and Relativity and Nuix as needed. We're not only able to, but often leverage our collection and processing tools to create detailed custom reporting, early case assessments, just to kind of see the full picture of a data set for gap analysis, as well as to cull a data set to the highest level possible. We leverage deduplication, search term enhancements, and data sampling for more targeted populations to save our clients costs and time associated with hosting and review post-processing. And that covers those groups, and we can move on to the next slide. Thank you. This is just some quick eye candy of some of the primary tools used by our collections team. These may or may not be familiar to you, but these are some of the best in-class options in the market. Really put our teams in a position to quickly and effectively collect and pull down a variety of data types from many different sources, including mobile devices and more dynamic applications like social media apps and alternative messaging applications, as well as conducting some forensic analysis for each of these. And the next slide. So now I'd like to present a little background on our litigation technology team, or LTT, which a lot of you have worked with or interacted with, even though you may not know it. This is a team that I directly manage on a day-to-day basis. Easiest way to think about LTT is that it is an operational arm of Encompass, but also has a subset of technologists and professionals that provide all sorts of traditional and maybe non-traditional litigation support services across the firm. And that subset team is the group of folks that oversee and respond to requests via the Litigation Solutions email distribution, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with or have already used. LTT is, like I said, made up of a combination of litigation technologists and support professionals that provide technical support for Encompass and Nelson Mullins attorneys and project managers using a variety of different platforms and tools that automate tasks and make processing workflows more reliable, efficient, repeatable. So currently, about half of the team are JDs, and the other half hold certifications of Relativity Certified Administrator, or RCA, which is a high-level administrative cert for the Relativity platform. Tasks and responsibilities are really varied for my team, and they include data and like initial data analysis, loading, and related overlays, supporting data migrations, as we've said in the past, overseeing workspace folder organizations, fields, choices, layouts, views, creating data indexes, search term reports, event handlers, which manage coding. They manage our blackout tool for native and other related redactions, and of course, preparing, executing, and conforming productions to spec, which is certainly one of the kind of bread and butter type tasks for this group. Also executing imaging and OCR jobs, overseeing and running custom scripts within various platforms, drafting and formatting initial privilege logs, and finalizing post-attorney review, and assisting attorneys and project managers with creating search-based workflows and preparing document exports as well. Additionally, The team provides support across the firm related to managing and supporting data room and case management platforms, which include HiQ Collaborate, Litera Litigate, Case Notebook, Case Map, and also supports and administers our NCAP data services, which includes Relativity. NCAP, as you can see, is the acronym on the slide there. It stands for our Encompass Content Analytics Platform and generally refers to our hosted data infrastructure environment and the related managed services that come with that. And Richie will get into it a little bit more later on in the presentation. We also have numerous contacts for trial support vendors, both national and more regional and local, that provide comprehensive on-site equipment and other trial support needs. On our end, we're able to assist with getting your trial team set up with pretrial exhibit software such as Agile Law and Trial Director, and assisting with some of the depot syncing and or depot clipping that you might need in that regard as well. So I think that pretty much covers this team, and I'll go ahead and pass the mic to Mallory Atchison.
Back up a little bit. Thanks, Pratt. So for those of you that I haven't met yet, I'm Mallory Atchison. I know that analytics is a vague or unknown term to a lot, but here I'm just referring to leveraging advanced technologies to help provide efficiencies or strategic advantages in our cases. Something that we feel sets ourselves apart is that we have a big consultative and collaborative aspect to us. We've really taken time to deeply understand these technologies and create workflows unique to our cases and to help you all understand why and how to use them. With that being said, I thought it would be most beneficial to go into a few of the common requests that we leverage analytics for. The first is case assessment, who, what, when, where. We've got communication mapping tools and conceptual analysis to really bring your data set to life before you have to review a document. These offerings generally have two types of results, either a search or a narrative of documents that we found on a particular topic or custodian of interest, or taking it a step out to create a report that will contain data points such as types of documents, who's talking to whom and when, what AI-detected concepts are most prevalent. These often come with sample key documents to help really understand just what's in the data set. We see a lot of these requests at the beginning of cases for strategy or case defense plans, but also in the midst of a fact development where we're looking to gather as much information as we can on a particular area. We also assist with search term analysis and refinement, as some people have mentioned. For this, we have a lot of collaboration with attorneys working with case materials, statistical sampling, false positive analysis to really right-size that initial population. And we find this offering to be very successful, often reducing the population from 50 to 95%, depending on the data set. And along with the advocacy that we can offer there, we can assist with the negotiation of these by providing the right data points and examples to justify those changes. Another common area of involvement surrounds deposition and witness preparation. For this, we work with case teams to use analytics to pull forward or segregate specific documents. These types of interviews are often on very short timelines and have priorities, so we've created several workflows to help drive forward documents that we want to see with phasing in of custodians or search terms or topics of interest as responsiveness levels determine. Also, a large part of our work is often associated with document review. We routinely use analytics to reduce document populations or ensure consistency in the review, and we've developed a lot of workflows incorporating technology-assisted review. These workflows can prioritize likely responsive documents for early knowledge and also potentially reduce the required review population by statistically determining when the remaining unreviewed population is likely to be not responsive. With these, we also see significant reductions in populations from 60 to 80% in maybe an initial review population. In any workflow, we have a very knowledgeable team with the technology and the advocacy to help ensure that you have everything you need to get the most benefit from it. And I'll quickly go through these last four. Privilege analysis. We can leverage our technology to help identify and streamline documents for privilege review or for creation of privilege logs. We also do a lot of production analysis. We can run our technology to help QC our productions and also compare our clients' productions to what we're getting to help point out deficiencies on either side. We do what I vaguely refer to as contract analysis. We have a specific technology designed to use AI to extract specific clauses from contracts, and we find it useful in a variety of case types. We have pulled rates and fees from all of the client's venture contracts to help them understand total investments, what language they need to standardize, what rates and fees they've been providing at different contracts. And we also have clients where we're just extracting specific contracts like a radius restriction or a GDPR clause to help them to strategize and stay in compliance. And this seems to be an increasing area of need for a lot of clients. Finally on my list here is PHI and PII detection, helpful in litigation and redactions, and also used most often in incident response sense. We have a technology that will scan and provide an AI-detected initial impact assessment report and assists with AI creation of deduplicated individuals that would potentially require notification. We find our technology and our workflow significantly reduce the amount of time needed for that analysis, which is crucial on the tight deadlines that are often associated with those matters. Next. We use a variety of industry-leading review and analytics platforms, and we have a team full of certifications in these and many others. So if anyone has any questions or want to brainstorm how our team could help your data and your case, feel free to reach out. On the question thing too, there is a chat function, so if during this y'all have any questions, feel free and we can answer them at the end. With that, I'll hand it over to Julie to talk a bit about our counseling and advocacy.
Great, thanks, Mal. I wanted to give just a quick introduction to our attorney team, and Lucy and I are going to just briefly touch on some of the things we do with respect to counseling advocacy. And Lucy did a nice job sort of introducing this already in some of the introductory comments, but we have a very deep bench of attorneys across a number of offices, although we are primarily located in Columbia, Charlotte, and Nashville. Our attorneys have diverse litigation backgrounds, and in addition to being e-discovery practitioners, many continue to have overlapping general litigation and government investigation practices. We also have a number of attorneys who are not technically on our team, but do engage in our matters and support our practice pretty regularly. And that really can come in a variety of ways, and sometimes it depends on a particular matter or client or a need of an individual case. But even if they're not necessarily, an Encompass attorney, there are a number of additional folks that do work in collaboration with our team pretty closely. We have extensive experience partnering with clients and our Nelson Mullins colleagues to handle really, all the discovery needs in cases of any kind of size and scope. I think we've handled, very small one-off cases that really just needed, a light touch, to very large matters where we're coordinating across, government investigations, litigation, large-scale MDLs. We really can handle it all, and our deep bench really allows us to do that. We routinely develop defensible strategies for preservation, collection, and production of ESI. Our attorney team provides oversight and coordination between the technical team that Michael was talking about, our analytics team that Mallory mentioned, and certainly our document review teams, and Hayward's going to touch on some of that work in just a minute. And then lots of coordination, of course, with the case teams, and understanding from them kind of what priorities are, working on coming up with discovery plans, and certainly working with clients directly to understand data systems, challenges, helping to identify tools that we can use for collection, preservation, and other tools that we can use that may support review and production efforts. Our focus really is on right-sizing the scope of discovery, process defensibility, and then, of course, handling discovery-related issues and orders. Lucy touched on some of these examples, but some of the things that we typically do are negotiating scope of discovery, and that includes custodians, date scopes, search terms, culling methodologies, certainly, understanding different things we can do with technology, disclosures related to those tools that we're using, providing advice on disclosure of those, use of those. We also routinely draft, negotiate, and litigate protective orders and ESI protocols, participate in meet and confers related to discovery-related issues, develop and negotiate privilege protocols, logging procedures, and then handling privilege challenges. And then as lawyers, we are also able to go into court, of course, and argue discovery motions, address discovery issues, and if needed, we're able to defend our process and work product in court. That is also often helpful for judges to understand context for what we do, and we're able to really, provide a lot of expertise there in terms of what has been done and how it's been done, and it really differentiates us between, what we do and our competitors in that space. And just a couple of quick recent examples of collaboration with some of the new colleagues that have joined from Bowman and Brook, as well as Tucker Ellis. Recently, we had one of our associates and one of our collection specialists in Atlanta to handle some on-site custodian interviews, identifying collection targets, and also performing some collections on site. And then in a separate matter, a breach of contract case, we are in the process of negotiating an ESI protocol and assisting with collection identification and helping to define scope of discovery in that matter.
Thanks, Julie. And I'm going to touch on just a couple of things that we also do sort of more on the counseling side or the non-litigation side. So in addition to the work that John, Julie, Hayward, and I all do in litigation matters and investigation matters, we also do a lot of work on the counseling side on issues that arise prior to any litigation or investigation. And so broadly, that often relates to issues for information governance and what we refer to as litigation readiness, sort of preparing for what may happen when litigation arises and trying to reduce and get a better handle on what may be your discovery risk down the road. And so a few examples on the information governance side would be things like updating and revising records management policies and protocols. We see a lot of clients who are trying to overhaul policies that maybe were drafted in a paper age, and trying to make them more appropriate for a really ESI focused environment that we are all in now with electronic data. Also with issues that arise more and more now related to mobile devices and whether or not those are BYOD, where the employee has brought those in and they've agreed to allow certain work apps to be on their phone, or whether they're corporate issues. A lot of issues arise there, and we work with clients on that. We also work on legal hold processes and protocols to help clients figure out the best way to manage some of those processes so they're ready when litigation arises to get those holds out and manage them going forward. We also work closely with clients on large application or technology implementations. We're seeing a lot of clients now, especially since spring of 2020, they've implemented Microsoft Teams. That is usually a big lift for clients. There are lots of different aspects of that technology. There are similar technologies out there as well, and they raise a whole host of retention and preservation issues. And so we work with clients on that, how to get those things set in the right way for the company, depending on their business need and the culture there. We also work with Slack and other types of tools that come up and helping clients work through some of the tricky issues there. And then one final example to mention on the non-litigation side is work related to defensible disposal. We're seeing a lot of clients looking at trying to reduce their data and document footprint, particularly with not only storage costs being a concern and looking down the road at future discovery risks, but really with data privacy concerns now and cybersecurity priorities. Clients and companies are really trying to reduce the amount of data and documents that they have if they don't need to have them anymore, trying to dispose of those. It can be a little bit easier said than done when you come across tens of thousands of boxes at Iron Mountain, or you have a really large file share environment. How you work through some of those issues to identify what you can dispose of and have a memorandum or record of the analysis that you did in case anything comes up in the future. You can show that you did your due diligence to show that this didn't need to be preserved for legal hold or for other retention requirements. So those are just a few of the examples of the types of things that we can help with if issues come up on the non-litigation side. And with that, I will hand it off to Hayward to talk a little bit about some of the review capabilities that we have.
Thanks, Lucy. So I'm going to talk a little bit about managed review, or you may hear just document review terminology used. We have 2 full-time document review centers, one in Columbia, South Carolina, one in Nashville. And they have 9 discovery counsel and review managers that oversee the day-to-day operations of the reviews that are taking place. We are also fortunate to be able to conduct some remote reviews where we have, you know, certain contract attorneys that we engage to conduct the review remotely, which has been helpful during the pandemic, and our security team and our staffing partners have been great in getting those set up and operational, and us getting client approval for those. We've got the ability to scale up from that, and we in fact have. You know, we've had you know, over 1,000 contract attorneys working on document reviews at a time, and so we've got the ability to scale up in certain cities with options there. So we really can handle, you know, from, I think folks have mentioned this, from a small review where you may have a few hundred documents and we're able to scale to that, to reviews of millions of documents in very short turnarounds. Our reviews cover sort of traditional, you know, review for responsiveness and privilege prior to production, but also a lot of government response work. That might be, you know, DOJ, SEC, FTC, DOL, other government agency requests. It may also be an HSR second request that's being done, you know, at the time of a merger. So we've got lots of experience, not only with civil litigation, but also with working with our government agencies and negotiating discovery processes with those government agencies. You know, we pride ourselves in being collaborative and thoughtful and using the technology and all the options that Mallory and Pratt have talked about, working closely with our advocacy team and the litigation teams, whether that's Nelson Mullins litigation team or you know, other outside counsel that we partner with for our clients. In the past 2 years, our review managers and discovery counsel have overseen nearly 100 separate review matters for clients across multiple industries. That's pharma, healthcare, energy, manufacturing, tobacco, automotive, financial institutions. We really cover the gamut there. And you know, we really do more than just document review. Our discovery counsel and review managers and our review teams are very experienced with deposition prep support and pulling together witness kits, in doing fact development or ECA, early case assessment analysis, where it's not necessarily a review for, is this, you know, responsive to discovery requests, but what are all the documents surrounding this one particular issue that we need to run down prior to a client meeting or prior to a witness interview. We do some work related to data breach response and incident response and determining, you know, what information may have existed within a data set and what notifications may be required. So that gives just an example of what our managed review services are. And again, we're happy to answer any questions either in the chat or later. And I'll turn it over to Richie here to talk a bit about NCAP pricing and other items.
Thanks, Hayward. Hello, everyone. So we wanted to touch on a couple of items related to pricing and proposals and go over how the communications and the documentation related to that would typically go for your cases. Our pricing is primarily comprised of your traditional e-discovery volume-based or per gigabyte service fees, including things like ingestion, processing, hosting, or user fees. This is primarily for the hosting of data in our NCAP environment, including the use of relativity and the other e-discovery tools that we leverage. For our typical NCAP services, we would begin each engagement by sending an SOW, a statement of work, to the Nelson Mullins attorneys working on the case. That SOW typically contains a description of Encompass and NCAP, and it provides descriptions of our various data services line items. It includes a summary of your project assumptions available to us at the time, and a cost estimate for NCAP data services based on those assumptions. If you're interested in Encompass contract or document review, managed services, or if you have non-standard projects, things like data migrations, shared data repositories, reuse of data across multiple matters, contract analysis, etc., please reach out to me or whoever you're already working with on the Encompass team, and we can provide a customized proposal that's tailored to your specific case needs. If you have a case where you're already working with Encompass team members, they will initiate that SOW or that proposal process at the appropriate point during the beginning stages of your project. I think we can go to the next slide. So I also help coordinate our information security compliance for Encompass. I work very closely with the firm's information security team on those efforts. And so along those same lines, our Encompass and our NCAP systems are within the scope of the Nelson Mullins Information Security Management System. So this includes all the associated firm policies governing information security. And it also means that the firm's SOC 2 and ISO 27001 certifications apply across all of our Encompass platforms and our processes. And to that end, we do have specific documented procedures in place for our e-discovery processes and the handling of client data. NCAP systems reside in a state-of-the-art Tier 3 data center with high availability. We maintain fully redundant backups at an off-site location. And that data center and the NCAP infrastructure within it are also SOC 2 and ISO 27001 certified. And we regularly respond to client security questionnaires, RFPs, and other assessments. We're happy to discuss our security posture with you or your clients or answer any questions you have about our information security anytime. With that, I think I can hand it back to John.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I could not introduce this team any better than they just introduced themselves. And so I thank everybody for that. I thank those of you for attending today. One thing that we did not say that I think is important to understand as a Nelson Mullins attorney. Encompass is a unique practice group. It combines, as you can see, an awful lot of technology, a lot of litigation know-how, and incredibly deep experience in all of these areas. There is no other law firm in the United States or beyond that has a group with capacity near what we're talking about. I mean, not even 25% of the bench depth that you're seeing here. When we spun up our collection team, our mission to the collection team was to be able to collect anything, anywhere, anytime. The request to Michael Pratt and his team was to be able to handle any data in any volume that comes to you under any circumstance and make it usable to accomplish any legal end. Those are the directives that our team is working under, and that is what they do. And I hope that we have an opportunity to work with you and other attorneys in your group soon. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact any of us. I apologize for my technical issues early on. Appreciate Lucy getting us kicked off, and thanks everybody.